Now, this story, the Khoi and San communities will finally be able to enjoy their share of the Rooibos industry. Considered as the original users of Rooibos, a 2019 sharing agreement is finally paying out to the Khoi and the San communities in the form of 12 million rand. So how will this money be distributed and how will it be used? To tell us more, I'm joined now by our reporter, my colleague Monique Mortlock, in our studios in Cape Town. Good afternoon, Monique, and welcome to Today This Hour. Thank you very much for your time. It's good news. I mean, when I saw this story first time, I smiled, you know. Rooibos is a South African original indigenous plant, and the Khoi San people are the first ones to have exploited it, and now they are getting the commercial benefit, finally.
Yes, exactly. And it's been a long battle for that recognition as the rightful knowledge holders of the Rooibos plant and of Rooibos tea. But the Khoi and San communities, the Khoi and San leaders, they had a victory in 2019 when that benefit sharing agreement was signed at Khoi with the Environmental Affairs Minister, Barbara Creecy, also in attendance. And I remember at that event how many of the people who were there, leaders and also just ordinary people from the different communities, not only in the Western Cape, but from as far as the Northern Cape, and some came from Gqeberha, and many of them were telling me that they are really hoping to actually see the fruits of the labor, the fruits of this agreement actually trickling down to them, and that's very important. And it's something that I also asked Minister Creecy about when I spoke to her a little earlier today. How are they going to ensure that this money, because this is only the first tranche of that agreement, this is the first tranche of benefits that will be paid out, 12 million rand, and it's essentially a 1.5% share of the farm gate price of Rooibos, of the Rooibos industry, and this amount will fluctuate year in and year out. So it could be more next year, could be less the year thereafter, but essentially it will be in the millions of rands, because the Rooibos industry is a multi-million rand global industry that now finally the Khoi and the San communities can have a share of. The money is being paid into two trusts managed by San leaders and managed by Khoi leaders, and they will then decide based on proposals that communities give them for various projects to uplift their communities, whether it be for education or for social development. They will then decide who to give the money to implement these various projects.
Yeah, it's been a long road, historically, but also since 2019, but finally this time is here. What have the San and the Khoi leaders told you?
They've been telling me that this is quite a massive milestone for them. I was speaking to Cecil Fleur from the National Khoi and San Council, and he was saying that for so many years they've been fighting, as I mentioned before, to be recognized as the rightful knowledge holders, to be recognized as the original users of a tea, of a plant that has been that is now being exported and being used. And for many years the Khoi and the San communities have been excluded from the financial benefits of this industry, and now for them to finally actually tangibly see that the financial gains of hundreds of years of knowledge that they've shared, it's quite a special occasion, although it's quite an arduous task that now befalls the Khoi and San leaders to fairly disperse the funds, and they were very careful to say that they aren't giving money to communities, but communities need to draw up business plans or business proposals for whatever projects they wish to put forward and whatever projects they wish to get financing for, and in this way they will help the various communities across South Africa. But I also asked the minister about this, Minister Creecy, and this is what she had to say on this first tranche of funds being dispersed.
Processes are still ongoing, and obviously this is the first one that has really reached the point of monetary benefit. And I think that what is, it's been a complex learning curve. I think government always gets criticized for red tape, and there's been plenty of red tape around this. But I think that one of the reasons why this pilot project is so important is that we've learned a huge amount as the department. Obviously, the communities are learning a huge amount. And this is important knowledge which we will now be able to use in future agreements without having to reinvent the wheel, as it were. You would understand that once the agreement was concluded, we had to make sure that the communities had appropriate trusts where this money is going to go to. In due course, there will be a review of the use of the money, because we're very keen that communities themselves should be very happy with the way in which the money is being utilized, so that this model can be replicated elsewhere.
It sounds like a great model there as we conclude, Monique, that Minister Barbara Chris was expressing there. And you did say the monies over time are going to be spent, are going to be kept in a trust, 2 separate trusts, and are going to be spent with the communities. Was there any idea about what kind of projects they would be supporting or that are already asking for support?
So I know that the Khoi leaders, they were talking about projects that would uplift communities, especially many of these Khoi and San communities are in impoverished areas, and basic needs like education, the education of young people, that is something that will definitely be funded. And back in 2019, when I spoke to some of the people who were there at the benefit sharing agreement, some of the leaders and some of the community members, they were saying that they also hope that some of the funds will go towards the just the cultural education of the young people living in these communities, so that the culture of the Khoi, the culture of the San people can continue, can live on in these communities, and not only in these communities, but in schools across South Africa. So this is also something that these leaders are definitely going to be looking at taking forward as these funds mature, or as these funds are decided about what to do with these funds.
Yeah, as they're paid out, these dividends are paid out to the trust.
Yeah.
You and I, from now on, Monique, are going to be sipping on that Rooibos with a smile on our faces, knowing that each time we buy Rooibos tea, is going to benefit the Khoi San community, the very, very first original indigenous people of this lovely land of ours. Thank you very much, Monique Mortlock.